All right. Hi, everyone. I am Keegan van der Walt, and I'm just really excited to be sharing a bit of myself with you guys today. So, I am originally from Johannesburg, born and bred in South Africa, and I moved to Cape Town about 3 years ago. Really, really loving it, really loving the scene, the environment. I think it's simply because I really love hiking, the outdoors, getting out there, um, being in that sort of natural habitat. And I think this space has quite a lot to offer in terms of that. I'm also quite an active guy, so calisthenics, which is kind of like a gymnastic style version of training. I break dance still, almost 30 years old, but still trying to do that. Emphasis on the break part of the break dance. So, possibly breaking some bones and things, but anyway, I'm a massive car lover. I love cars, typical boyish thing to say, and I do handstands pretty much everywhere. So if you guys do see me balancing upside down somewhere, you aren't mistaken. It probably is me. Yeah, just born and bred South African, not a New Zealander. A lot of people tend to confuse me with a New Zealander, although I look like I've been hit by a bus, so I don't see the resemblance. But anyway, it is what it is. Um, yeah, I love psychology. Focused on my growth at the moment, mentally and physically. I think I'm kind of in that health and wealth era, and just a comical guy. I love jokes. I love um, the free atmosphere to let people be who they want to be. Yeah, and that's kind of me in a quick nutshell. Um, I also tend to enjoy mentoring. So you guys will probably hear about it somewhere here or there. And I'm kind of in the very big sort of mentoring and leadership space of my career right now, and I think my life in general. So much so that I've actually created my own Udemy course. So you guys will probably hear me punt that here and there and say, hey, if you want to learn Microsoft Power BI, go check out my Udemy course. Goals and aspirations. I think from a career perspective and where I want to go right now is I just really want to um, excuse me, along with my side hustle business, one day be able to do a TED talk or be a part of a TED talk or something like that. And I've kind of gone down that journey of really trying to become a speaker. So I've done quite a few talks here and there. With my side hustle company being Adaptive Agile Consulting, where I just kind of focus on agile business transformation and certain elements all around that space. I did a talk at Alan Gray, which essentially just focused on how agile is not necessarily just a corporate tool that we use to make our businesses run better, but it could also be something that you can use in your life, right? So something that I hold very dearly next to me, and I think that's something that I spoke about and kind of took people on a journey through at Alan Gray. Um, I've done some data conferences. So I've done a talk for a company called Slipstream Data, which was really, really cool. It was a Tableau versus Power BI talk that we kind of panel debated on, which was really, really nice. And then, of course, I've got some clients with my sort of side hustle agile company. So done some leadership talks through that for agile specifically with a company called OCFO. Um, and some talks are coming up still. So I'm doing a data strategy talk if you guys are around and available in Johannesburg next year in March 2025 for IT Web. And it's literally just about not falling into the traditional data strategy trap. So yeah, that's a quick sort of breakdown on me. For the role at Hangar49, I think specifically just around that data management and analysis. I've spent a lot of time, in my career being a data engineer, being a BI developer, and really just trying to get on top of my field in terms of the BI space and data space. Throughout that sort of 7 year journey of where I've been going through, there's obviously been a touch on agile leadership, all of that jazz. But there's also been quite a big touch on data architecture and data modeling, which has been really, really interesting for me. Throughout the process, I was able to do things like build pipelines everywhere, build insights and valuable dashboards that are used throughout the country for certain businesses. And I was able to also do things like full cloud migrations, right? Where, I mean, the last cloud migration we did, um, At the previous company I was at, JobJack was specifically moving cross cloud from a cloud environment called DigitalOcean and rebuilding and designing a hybrid data lakehouse in AWS. So I had the chance of doing some really, really cool stuff. Um, in terms of things like experience with automation and things like that, I think that just comes with the territory of the job. So, as any sort of seasoned data engineer would know, we don't like doing tasks over and over and over again, right? We find a way to automate it through Python and PySpark, things like that. Things like not needing to look at data loads, not needing to look at checks, data integrity. Those should all be automated. So had some fun experiences with that, and also just kind of automating dashboards and allowing users um, to get their data when they need it, where they need it, and integrate and use it as they want. So a lot of automation there. In terms of experience with things like ERPs and CRMs, I had the privilege of actually working on some Sage ERPs, specifically the Sage 300's ACPAC ERP, and that was quite a monster. Um, Very interesting to see how people integrate ERPs, and I think that's one of the biggest failing points for most businesses is trying to create some kind of data model out of an ERP that's specifically storing your data. Also had some experience with Salesforce and some other CRMs and stuff like that along the way. Um, yeah, for the most part, as a data lead and someone who has been in big corporates like Capitec Bank and Service, I've spent a lot of time working with direct cross-functional teams, working with multiple individuals from different teams and kind of mentoring them as well. So I ran a thing called a community of practice at Capitec Bank, for example, where there was roughly 40 business intelligence developers who would come to these communities of practice that I would run, so that we could integrate and find possible ways of making things faster for the bank, by just sharing knowledge and actually seeing what we can leverage off of each other. So it was some very, very cool experiences. Why I'd like to work at Hangar49 is it's quite a big question, but for the most part, I think um, marketing seems to be an industry I haven't really ventured into, and I've kind of boarded on tons of other industries. I mean, it's Service alone when I was there, there was specifically 9 industries, including things like catering, landscaping, pest control, office services, parking management. So there was quite a lot of big things, security. Um, I mean, I've even done sports sponsorship, and I've been in the data space throughout all of these places. But I've never had to actually go into the marketing space specifically. So it'll be a nice, interesting new challenge for me in the industry that I haven't actually tackled, but I can see how I can bring all the multiple other versed knowledge in all the other industries to marketing, which would be really, really cool. I'm also busy reading The Diary of a CEO by Stephen Bartlett, and he specifically speaks quite a lot about his marketing agency in that book. The industry just seems really enticing to me. And I think for my own personal growth, it just seems like something that I'd like to consider exploring. Um, the position specifically also seems to have space for growth in my leadership and directional capabilities, which I would also like to explore, And I think for the most part, it just seems like a really, really cool vibe. So that's a bit about me.